Welcome back again. In this lecture, we are going to continue the topic difference between the procedure-oriented language and object-oriented language. And we'll talk about the difference between object-oriented languages like C++ and Java. So we will see an example program which will clearly make you understand the difference between the procedural language and object-oriented programming language. So object-oriented programming language for a vehicle management system. Okay, object-oriented programming language for a using procedural language. So we will take a vehicle management system. In vehicle management system software creation, what do you need? Basically, you need to create a vehicle details. So how can you create vehicle details using C language, using Java language? Using C language, we can create a vehicle details using the concept of structure. If you see the structure, so this is this vehicle structure. Okay, this vehicle structure is having the attributes, properties like attributes, but no methods. Okay, so that is the first difference that we can say, that structure-oriented languages are driven by structures. If you see structure, the structure is defined with the keyword struct. Okay, then how the structure-oriented programming are driven by structures? Only with the properties called attributes. There is no behavior defined for the structures in the structure-oriented languages. Whereas in object-oriented languages, we not only create the attributes of the vehicle structure, but also create the behavior of, that means methods. What are those methods? We will see. So if you take a structure in a procedural languages, so we will have only what? Attributes, properties, members. Whereas if you take object-oriented language, we don't have only members, attributes. We will also have member functions which will define the behavior of these members. That is the basic difference between structure-oriented language, object-oriented language. Now, when you write a program, how can you write a structure in a C language? How can you write a class in object-oriented language? If we start with the explanation of the program, here these are predefined library functions, header files. Whereas in Java, you call it as a predefined packages. Here we are importing the packages which are required. That means some of the functions which we are using, predefined functions. So we have to use this. Statement to access those. Let us say here I am using system.out.println. Okay, this is for printing some data. So when I am using this, then this is a predefined method. That means there are two methods, predefined, user-defined. User-defined means we have created accelerate, right? Accelerate is a name given by user. So these are user-defined methods which are defined by users. But there will be predefined methods which are defined by the compiler itself previously. So here input-output classes which are already created in a Java compiler. So that we are accessing in our program. That's why I have taken this import space Java. Java is a package in which we have a IO classes created. So Java is a parent for IO classes, predefined IO class. This predefined IO classes are having the methods like println, printf. Okay. So different methods that we have. Input, output. Input also we have like scanner class we have, buffer reader class we have, different classes we have. So if I am using those methods, predefined methods in my program, then I have to write this statement. And in C language, we will have a predefined methods like printf, scanf. Printf for printing the data on the console. Scanf for reading the data, input. Scanf for reading, printf for output. So if I am using this, I have to use the header files. Here we call it as a header file. Here we call it as a package. That you have to call in your program. To call that packages in Java, we write the keyword import. Here we write the keyword hash include. So we will make another lecture on this, what is hash include, what is import. These are the keywords that we use to call the library functions, to call the predefined functions in our program. Here I am calling predefined functions. Here I am calling class. So you understand the difference. Object oriented will talk about only classes, whereas procedural language will talk about the procedures. That means functions. Okay. Coming back to the differences. Here for a vehicle details, we create a structure. Here for vehicle details, we create a class. A class will have members and member functions, whereas the structure will have only members. That is the basic difference. Then moving forward, so here inside the class only I will write method. I told you the difference. Inside the class only I have written a method. But whereas in procedural language, outside of the structure I will write a member function or a function or a method. Okay. So this is the function to display vehicle details. What previously we have done, here we have created vehicle details. Okay. What is constructor, I will let you know further. Okay. Constructor is same as class name. What this method do, this is the one of the method in object oriented programming. What it do, I will explain. So how can we take vehicle details? We can take vehicle details using structures in C programming. In Java, we use class. In class, we will write members and methods. In structure, we will write only members. And how can we display these details that we have taken, vehicle details? Using functions. Those functions are defined inside the class in object-oriented language, whereas those functions are defined outside the class in procedure-oriented languages. Okay. Now, if you see here, okay, here what I am doing, whatever the values I have taken for the name of the vehicle, okay, for the number of the vehicle, for the speed of the vehicle. So I am displaying those details using void display, void display. What is void? Void is a return type of the method. If the method is returning any value, return is a keyword used for returning the value. If it is returning integer value, then the return type will be int, primitive type. It is not, here it is not returning anything. We have not used any return keyword. That's why the type should be void. Void means empty. There is no value that is returning. If we are returning some kind of type value, then we have to mention the type value as a return type. Same in this is same in a procedure oriented language also. So what is the difference you observe here? Here for printing the name of the vehicle, I am using the printf method, predefined method. Whereas in Java, I am using system.out.println method. So for printing, we have different methods in these different languages. But the difference between procedure language and object-oriented languages, object-oriented languages are derived or defined from the concept of classes, whereas the procedure-oriented languages are derived from the concept of structure. And how can we take the values of these vehicle details? Here, if you see, the vehicle details are name, number, speed, maybe the vehicle number. Okay, it is the speed of the vehicle that we are talking about. Here also we have the same details. Okay, here I have used the character array. Here I have used the string. Why I have used character array? Because the name of the vehicle may have multiple characters, set of characters. That's why I have taken an array here. Here I have taken a string because string is a combination of multiple characters. Set of characters is called string. That's why I have used that. So what parameters I have taken in each of the programming language for vehicle details? Name, number plate of the vehicle and speed of the vehicle. Okay, then how can I assign the values using in a procedure oriented language? How can I assign the value in an object oriented language? To assign the values to the parameters created for the vehicle in object oriented language, we use the concept of constructor. So constructor is used to assign the values of the or to assign the values to the attributes, to instantiate the vehicle details. So we use the constructor. So what is constructor? All that I will let you know. What is this? All this I will let you know. This indicates, here I have taken name. Here I have taken name. Two places I have taken name. So I have to tell the compiler what is this name I am referring to. This name I am referring to. This name I am referring to the class properties. And this is a property of this method. This vehicle method. Vehicle constructor. We call constructor is a method. Okay. So the name, this name, I just write name. That means it is the property of the vehicle constructor, vehicle method. And I have used this dot name, this keyword I have used to represent this property. It belongs to the class. Okay. So how can I assign values? Using constructor, I can assign values into the class properties. But in procedure-oriented languages, how can I assign values to the vehicle details? So here you see, I can assign values to the vehicle structure in procedure-oriented languages using the structure variable. How can I create a structure variable? What is structure name? Structure name is vehicle. What I told, to represent this vehicle is a structure, I have to write keyword struct and the any user defined variable name. Now this acts as a variable for this structure vehicle. Now using this variable, structure variable, what I am doing? Car dot name. What is name? Name is a vehicle detail property. Vehicle structure property. What the property? Name of the vehicle. So here I am to access that structure variable name, structure parameter, vehicle parameter name. What I am using? I am using a structure variable. How I am creating a structure variable? I am creating the structure variable using the keyword struct space the name of the structure, that is vehicle, and the space name of the structure variable, any user defined name. Variables have some rules to create. So you cannot start a variable name with a number or special characters. Like that, we have some rules to create variable names. So we have to follow that variable name creation properties to create the user defined variable. Here I have taken car as a structure variable. Using this car, what I am doing? Car dot name. What I am giving? I am using a strcpy, string copy method. So I am using a string copy method to copy the string into this variable. Those are two parameters that we have in a string copy method. This is predefined method. Is already defined by compiler. That's why here I have used the header file string.h. Because this is predefined method. Am I writing any how to assign this here? Am I writing how to assign car into this name? Am I writing that code here? No, I'm not writing that code here. How I am going to assign the value, string value to this name character array? Am I doing that here? No. So that means this is string copy is a predefined method. So this predefined methods I am using in my program. So I have to write this hash include a string.h. If I write this statement, what happens? I can use those string.h header file, all methods. String comparison, string reverse, strrev. So like that I can use strcpy. strrev, what it will do? If you give one string, it will reverse the string. If I give car, it will give RAC. Reverse of the car. Okay. So how can I assign vehicle details like name, number plate and speed? So this is how I can do with the structure variable. So car dot name equals to car. I can write like this, or I can use the string copy method. In string copy method, I have taken car dot name, the variable name and the value. Okay. Here car dot number equals to 101. Why I am using dot? This is the delimiter I have to use to access the parameters, because if you see, this code is written where? This code has written in main method. What is main method? Every program, either it is object oriented programming or a procedure oriented programming, should have a main method. That means what we are doing initially, what we used to do is we used to write a whole program at once. But after the modularity, the program is divided into chunks, different parts. So that it is, we don't need to have a big memory to execute the whole program. What I did now, I have divided the program into parts. Now I can call in main memory. You will have a main memory, secondary memory. From secondary memory, I can call chunks of the program into main memory. So if I have 2 GB of program is there. If I have to run this 2 GB of program, I have to have 2 GB of main memory. If 2 GB of my main memory is occupying this, executing this program, then you imagine what is the speed of your computer. So that's why what we did, we have divided this 2 GB of a program into smaller chunks. Okay, 500 MB, 500 MB, like that I have taken. Modularity, that means this, like this. Main method, display method, okay, structure. Like this, we have divided the program into parts. In that, what is main method is? From which the program execution starts. So main memory is going to call the main method first, from where the program's execution starts. So here in main method, what we did, we are going to create a structure variable to access the parameters of the structure. What are the parameter attributes of the structure? The attributes of the structure are name, number, speed. To assign values, where we can assign in the main program. Okay, using main is a separate block. In that separate block, how can we call the outside parameters? Using the structure variable and the delimiter. Okay, so here what I am doing, I am calling the method. Okay, the method, here I have not used car.display. Did I use? I have not used car.display because the display is not a method of structure. Here display is declared. Here display is declared outside of the structure. So I don't need to use the structure variable to call this method. I can use just a display. Okay, but display have a parameter inside it. What is the parameter? So vehicle structure variable, vehicle name parameter. So I am passing the structure variable car here. And here if you see this main method of a object oriented programming, this main method should be written in a public class. And this will be the file name of a Java program. Okay, this Java program we are writing. What is the file name? Here in procedural languages, there is no restriction that you have to use some file name. But in object-oriented programming language like Java, you will have a restriction to use a file name. What is that restriction? The file name of a Java program should be the public class name that we have used. How many public classes we have? What is public class? That means anyone can access. If you write a class as a public. And how many public classes we can have in one program? We can have only one public class. Whatever public class we define, okay, that is going to be the file name of your Java program. Okay, and why it should be the file name? Because when you create a class with the access specifier public, that means any part of the system can access this. Now, any part of the system, that means system has to execute main, right? So when system has to execute main, it has to access that. So when it can access the other parts of the system, when it is public. That's why we write here also the main method. Main is a method. Okay, the main method will have the access specifier public. Okay, that means anyone can access. Public indicates the access specifier control statement. Public indicates that anyone can access. That means anyone means any part of the system can access. The system may be software system or hardware system. What is the, here, how can you access the class, properties, name, vehicle number, speed? So here what we are going to do, we create an object of the class. Okay, here if you remember, what I did, I have created car 1, I have created car 2 for the car class. These are the objects. How did I create? So I can create using this statement. What is this statement? Here, vehicle is a class name and car is a object name. Here we call it as an object in object-oriented programming. Whereas in a structure-oriented programming, what we call this one car, we call car as a structure variable. We call it as a structure variable. Here we call car as a object in the object-oriented programming. So how do I create object? Class name, space, object name equals to new. I have to use the keyword new here. Okay, whereas in structure-oriented language, I did not use any keyword new. I just wrote struct, the space structure name and space user-defined structure variable name. That's it. But in Java, in object-oriented language, you have to use the keyword new to create an object to the class. Here I have to write the class name. Here I have to write the class name. But what is indicating here, writing class name? Here indicating writing class name that calling the default constructor. This here we are calling the default constructor with what I told, the constructor is used to create, to assign values to the vehicle object. Okay, assign values to the objects of a class. So constructor is used. This statement is calling the constructor, default constructor with parameters like car name, vehicle number and the speed of the vehicle. Okay, and how can I call the methods of a class? I can call the methods of a class with the object name dot display. Here I have not used the structure name. Did you see? Here did I use the structure name? I did not use the structure name car.display because the display here will be written outside the structure. Whereas the display method, the methods are written inside the class. That's why I have used an car object car.display. Okay. So these are the basic differences between a class, object and the object-oriented language, structure-oriented language. For a vehicle management system, creating a vehicle detail, this program is all about creating a vehicle details, displaying those vehicle details. How can we do that? With the modular programming. C is also a modular programming. Procedure-oriented language means the program is divided into functions. So it is also following the property of modularity. But if you see the differences of the modularity, here in the class itself we write the methods, whereas in a procedure oriented languages we don't write the methods inside the structure. So there is no encapsulation, so there is no abstraction, so there is no inheritance and polymorphism. Whereas in object oriented languages we have these principles of hiding the data by encapsulation and abstraction, and using the data into another without wasting the memory is inheritance. Using in many forms, not just using using as it is, can be used with the same behavior with the multiple behaviors, polymorphism. So these properties are followed in the object oriented languages. These are the basic differences between C and C++, Java. Whereas C++ is also object oriented programming following these principles. but there are security concerns in C++ language compared to Java. So those are in implementing the concept of inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. There is leverage in C++. So, and C++ are independent. C++ creates a program as a platform dependent. Whereas in Java, we create programs as platform independent. Platform independent means you can write a program and run on any hardware platform. But in C++, C++ is also object-oriented programming language. But once you create a program, you can't run the program on any hardware platform because it will not convert the program high level to bytecode. Whereas in Java, we convert the program from high level to bytecode to machine code. But in C++ program, the compiler converts the high level program to machine code directly. So you cannot run, it cannot plug and play in any hardware platform. That's how it is dependent on the hardware compatibility. Whereas the Java program is not dependent on any hardware compatibility because it converts the high level to bytecode. Bytecode can run on any hardware platform. That's how it becomes the platform independent. So these are the basic differences between C, C++ and Java. So till now we have learned about the basic principles of object-oriented programming: class, object, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction. And we have seen the differences between the procedure-oriented language C, Java, and the object-oriented language C++ and Java. Till now, we have learnt about the difference between procedure-oriented language C and object-oriented language Java, and the object-oriented language C++ and Java. Thank you very much. In further classes, we are going to learn about the concepts of Java, implementing the features object-oriented programming languages. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.